Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be making Swiss steaks for dinner. Now I'm going to be tweaking a slow cooker recipe for an on top of the stove recipe. Really not hard to tweak it if you're only cooking for two, which me and Ronnie. But I will include down in the description box the full slow cooker recipe as well as the recipe that I tweaked for on top of the oven. What do you need for Swiss steaks? If you're doing a family size recipe and using a slow cooker, you want to have 3 to maybe 5 or more pieces of cube steaks. I am only going to be using 2 pieces, again, as I said, for me and Ronnie, so I'm using 2 of them. You will need diced tomatoes or crushed tomatoes. You can use a large can. If you don't want to use them, you can use another tomato product, maybe tomato sauce with diced tomatoes. That's what I'm going to go for. You can use red and green peppers. I don't have red peppers at the moment, so I'm just going to use my green peppers. An onion, you can use 2, again, depending on whether or not you're doing the stovetop version or slow cooker version. You'll need flour. You will need some paprika. You can also use seasonings of your choice. I like to sprinkle a little pinch of Italian seasonings in the flour prior to me coating the steaks. That's optional. That's just something I like to do. On top of the stove, I'm looking at probably maybe 15 minutes prep time because the steaks have to be fried up in a frying pan before they are simmered in with the tomato products. As far as the simmering on top of the stove, I'm going to give myself, I want to say, an hour to an hour and a half, being that I only have 2 steaks. But I will check it throughout this video and we'll see how it progresses. So let's get into making some yummy Swiss steak. Before I even get into prepping my steaks, I opened up my tomato sauce and my crushed tomatoes. This is a 28-ounce can, and I have a smaller can of tomato sauce. What I'm going to do, since I am going to be letting this simmer on my stovetop, I'm going to add the whole can of tomato sauce and roughly half of the can of crushed tomatoes. I'm going to leave that inside the pot while I prep my steaks to coat them in flour. And I'm only doing that just to one less thing, I guess you could say, that I have to do after I'm frying up the steaks. I'm not heating it up or anything. I'm just doing that now so I don't have to do it later. In this bowl, I have 2 cups of flour, some salt and pepper, a dash of paprika, and I also have my Italian seasoning, parsley, oregano, basil, and cilantro. I mixed everything up. What I'm going to do is take each cube steak and dredge it in the flour mixture, and it's going to go into my frying pan that is on top of my stove. I have 2 tablespoons of oil warming up in my frying pan. And the steaks need to be browned on each side. Depending on the thickness of the cube steaks, it could take anywhere from, say, roughly 2 to 5 minutes. Mine are, I don't know, I want to say on the thin side, so I'm thinking maybe about 3 minutes, probably about 1.5 minutes on each side to brown them and they should be good. So I'm coating them pretty good. I'm actually going over the steak about 3 different times, turning it over, making sure it is coated. And I'm just placing it here on this cutting board for the moment. I'm going to up the temperature of my oil from low to medium. Oil has warmed up, and I've had them in roughly for 45 seconds so far. Like I said, I'm going to leave them on the one side for about a minute, minute and a half. Actually, I think I am definitely going to go with the minute and a half just to be on the safe side. So, as you can see, I flip them over. Yeah, minute and a half was good. So I'm going to give the other side now, same time as well, minute and a half. Then I'm going to transfer my cube steaks into my pot here that they're going to simmer in. I'm already turning it up to low, and I'm going to let that on low while my cube steaks finish brown. Alright, so both sides are brown. I moved my temperature on my oven here from low. I moved it up to simmer. So now all I'm going to do is transfer my cube steaks from my frying pan into this big pot. Put this on the back burner for the moment. Putting my spoon in there. I chop my onion up, and all I'm doing, I cut it into just rings, and I'm just adding a layer of onions on top of these steaks. I'm going to up my temperature, and I'm going to put it a little bit below medium. And as you can see, I cut up my 3 green bell peppers, layered them on top of the onions, and now I'm going to add the last of my crushed tomatoes directly on top. I'm going to leave this set at right below medium. I want to say for at least, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. Then I'm going to up it right to medium. And I'll be setting my oven timer over there. And I'm going to set it for an hour and a half. Every half hour, I'm going to check, stir where needed. That's my timer. There we go. So I'm just basically moving everything away from the sides, making sure that, nothing is sticking. Spreading out the peppers and onions a little bit. And like I said, I do have the temperature up to medium now. And I'm just going to let this go and let it simmer. Holy Moses, that was thunder. Wow. Wow, that was thunder, guys, if you heard that. And I can use some of the gravy, on top of the mashed potatoes as well. So, after a half hour, I lowered the setting from medium to in between simmer and medium. I have it set at 3. And I turn my steaks over and pretty much lightly stirred the sauce. So during the last 20 minutes, I add a little more salt and a little more seasonings. I turn my steaks over yet again, and I'm probably going to do it one more time. I think maybe about 5 minutes from now. I'm going to heat up the okra, and I'm going to make some mashed potatoes to go with my Swiss steaks. And then I'll be showing you guys what everything looks like when it's all done. Well, everyone, dinner is done, and I am getting ready to eat. Let me show you what this looks like on your plate. There's my yummy steak smothered with sauce and some peppers and onions. Here's my mashed potatoes, and there is some okra. Well, guys, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, hit my subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Stay safe. I will see you all on the next one. Good night.